Hey, Nick, can I have some points?
Sure, man.
Oh, man, that's a positive player interaction you just did, man. Let's shake on that.
That's really good.
Hi, everybody, I'm Mike. We've been shaking hands for 15 minutes. My shoulder is injured now.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murphy, and yes, we're going to talk about games that have positive player interaction.
Which is our preferred way of interaction.
If I'm interacting with people, I want it to be that we're each getting a little something.
Yeah, and we're not really into like, I'm taking this from you or I'm blocking this space for you.
No.
We generally like positive player interaction. Those kinds of games are great. A lot of people love that. That's wonderful. We just tend to like, hey, I'm doing this thing and you're going to get a bonus because I took your spot or
But secretly,
something
hopefully,
like
I get a little bit more out of it than you do because I do want to win the game.
Totally. So we're talking about our top 10 favorite positive interaction games.
Our number 10 is going to be Faiyum. This is a game we've talked a lot about. This is from Friedemann Friese. It's a game where you are all working on the same central board and working for the Pharaoh. So we are playing cards, doing their actions, buying new cards that are going to have stronger versions of the actions, and kind of building out and taming the land, building settlements and then cities and stuff in this kind of general progression. But because we all work for the Pharaoh, we don't own any of this. Any of the things that are on the board, they are not ours. So I can build something, and then someone else can build a road off it and go in a whole different direction than maybe I would have liked or planned to do. But it's all in the benefit of the kind of greater good, because someone might do that, but then they create, a city here or a vineyard or something, and then I can play cards that are going to now benefit from the infrastructure someone else has built. So we all are kind of, rising up as a society together, and I'm just hoping to eke out more reputation, which are your victory points, than, my opponents. And I just really enjoy the nature of the ever-changing board, the fact that you can kind of change, mitigate, anything that's been built before and do different stuff and often benefit from something someone else has done. So any game where you get to kind of mooch and be like, hey, great, thanks for doing that. Now I'm going to do this over here and score these points. That's fantastic for me. It makes me feel good.
Number 9 is going to be Le Havre. Le Havre has some good player interaction and good, for the most part, positive player interaction. Sometimes it can be negative, so some people might be like, that's not positive, but I personally think it is in this one. Le Havre is a great Uwe Rosenberg game, one of my favorites, and one thing I like about Le Havre is just how simple it is. You will move your boat kind of down along this line, and then you will repopulate some stuff, and then you basically have two choices. You can either take a big pile from one of the depots, like a big pile of fish, a big pile of clay, a big pile of wood, or you can activate one of the buildings, and you can activate one of your own buildings for free, or you can activate kind of the town's buildings, or you can activate anyone else's buildings. And that's where that player interaction comes from. Because if I place my disc on their spot, there is blocking, so you're blocking that spot for them, and sometimes that can be bad, but I feel like more often than not in this game, it's usually good, because most cards you have a cost of either food or money. And again, if you're activating your own cards, you don't have to pay that. But if you're activating someone else's cards, you have to pay them that stuff. And I always enjoy games like that. I don't particularly enjoy just blocking in games. I don't really find that kind of interaction to be fun or interesting. That's just me. Other people really like that kind of aggressiveness. I don't. I just don't really like it. So I enjoyed this. It was like, hey, I'm going to use this, but you're going to get something out of it. In a game where particularly food tends to be very tight in the first half of the game, someone activating one of your building and giving you 2 food can be honestly really, really great. And so I really like that kind of player positive interaction that is in Le Havre. Sometimes it can be tough because you're like, I really needed to go there, but at least I got this little thing out of it. I love Le Havre. It's simple. It's great. That little bit of player interaction is wonderful. It's a banger.
Now, a constant kind of like source for positive player interaction is the action, follow action mechanism, and Earth does that to like the top. So this is a game where the active players can choose one of 4 action types on a turn, and they are going to get a stronger version of the action, but everyone is going to get to take a version of the action that was selected. And then as you're building out a tableau of cards of all these different types of plant life, you are going to be able to trigger any of your cards in your tableau that are matching the action type that was selected. So if it was the red action type, for example, I'll do, even though I'm just following a version of the action, which will be weaker, but then I still get to do all of my cards, which is super powerful and beneficial, especially if I've been building up toward having a lot of red banner cards. So I can get all of this stuff, all of these resources, progress my game forward a whole bunch, even when it's not my active turn. You're always engaged with the game, you're always playing, you're always making decisions and doing things, and that's super duper satisfying. And this game is all about chaining 15 combos off of each other and creating like a synergy as you go through that tableau, activating all your cards. And so it's very satisfying every time.
Number 7 is Lanterns. Lanterns is so good. I feel like this game is older at this point, and so not many people talk about it, but I think it's really, really outstanding. And this is positive player interaction, kind of in a weird way, because this is a game where you are placing out these lantern tiles. We'll have different colored lanterns on the 4 quadrants of the tile, and you're placing them out onto the lake, and the lake you'll be putting it next to other lantern tiles. And then after you place a tile, basically everyone will get the colored lantern that's pointing at them. So if it's like white, green, purple, and white, let's say white again, this person would get white, I would get white, purple, green, whatever colors I said, green, purple. And so it's that positive interaction where you're always, every single turn, people are always going to be giving you cards. There's never a situation where they won't. The only time would be is if you are out of those cards, then they wouldn't get anything. But for the most part, that's the kind of interaction. It's always this positive interaction, but it makes it very interesting because when you are the one choosing which lantern tile to put out, you are trying to really look at what people have, because you are turning in these lantern cards to get points from the Emperor, and you can turn in pairs. You have to turn in like 2 or I think it's 3 pairs, or you can turn in one of all 7 types of colors, or you can turn in a 4 of a kind. So if I see that Mike has 3 orange ones, I don't want to point an orange one at him because that's going to give him 4 for that 4 of a kind that he can then just turn in and score points. So it's positive interaction, but at the same time, you have to pay really good attention of what you're giving people because you might be giving them exactly what they need to score. And so it's this interesting thing where it's positive for everyone, but not really for you because you're constantly giving people other stuff. But at the same time, you're always getting stuff on your turn as well. And getting Lanterns cards is always useful. There's never a time where you don't really want one. I really, really love Lanterns. It's been a little while since we've played, and gosh, we got to get back to the table because this is one of our first games that we played, and I still really adore it. I love the look. I just love the kind of relaxed nature of it. I love the fact that you're always getting those Lantern cards. It's very good.
All right, next up is going to be Age of Innovation. This is a Terra Mystica game. You could also say Terra Mystica and Gaia Project all have this kind of positive player interaction where you build on the board and how close you are to your opponents can be very beneficial for your opponents or for yourself because you are benefited from building next to or having other players build next to you most specifically. Because every time I go to build a building, any players that have buildings surrounding the building that I built will get to cycle power. They have to spend victory points, so there is a trade-off. They can cycle up power, which can then become either kind of free anytime actions, or there are certain actions on the board that can only be triggered using power. So you have to be kind of funneling, energy through this engine and moving things through. So you are incentivized to build toward each other to build in a way that is going to have it be that people build next to you. But then me as a player, I don't want to just gift people power. But again, they have to spend some of their victory points, which maybe helps me get a little bit closer to their score. So that's really nice. And then also there are certain buildings where they have a cheaper cost if you build adjacent to an opponent. And so it's like, okay, well, I want to get to over here because I really don't have much money and I need this trade post to be a little bit cheaper. So again, all of the Terra Mystica games feature this kind of positive player interaction, spatial, relationship to each other in terms of where we build, both for our like home planet or terrain type, but also for being next to opponents or building a spot that opponents build next to me so I can do some of that cycling of power.
Number 5 is going to be Septima. This is a big, really cool game by Mindclash Games where you are witches, and you are witches in a coven. It is a competitive game, but there is a little bit of semi-co-opness, and that's kind of where that positive player interaction comes from. But you are witches, and you are good. You are not like bad, evil witches. You are good witches, and you are actively trying to help out people in this town, but the townfolk don't like or trust you. And so they're constantly trying to arrest you. There are witch hunters out that are out to get you, even though you are good. It's kind of one of those like these good people are misunderstood. It really pushes that home, and it's done a very cool way. It's got a very cool look. I really like Septima a lot, but there is a lot of good positive player interaction in the game because it is kind of simultaneous selection in terms of what different action you're going to do. And if you choose the same action as someone else and you both go to that same place, the action is a lot better. It's a lot better. It's a lot stronger. It's really, really good. And so that's that kind of positive player interaction, a little bit of semi-co-opness where you're like, hey, let's both do this thing. The problem is because both of you are together and you're doing this really powerful thing, it is going to attract the attention of the witch hunters and make them more likely to come to you. And so it's one of those things where it's like, there's positive player interaction, but there's kind of a big consequence for it as well. So you don't want to do it all of the time, but there isn't really any downside to doing it other than downside for kind of everyone involved. But there's no like, blocking each other or like, I got this and you don't get it anymore. There's none of that in the game because again, you're kind of, it's a competitive game, but you're not really against each other in terms of like thematically, in the game you are, but not really thematically. Because again, you're all good witches and you're doing good stuff out there. You're just misunderstood. And so you're being put onto trial and you can get people off of trial. It's kind of a big part of the game. It's a really, really interesting game with a really cool theme, a really cool look. And I really enjoyed that kind of positive player interaction, but with some consequences.
Next up is going to be Brass Birmingham. This is a game that is all about positive player interaction, which is something I didn't realize the first time I played the game, and it actually made me dislike the game because I didn't understand the kind of game it was. This is a game all about mooching. You're trying to mooch off of other people's stuff, or you want to be mooched upon so that you can benefit because there are various tiles you can build out onto the board where, it might be an iron. You're smelting iron, so you're providing iron either to the market or other players can use the iron that's on your tile and you want people to use this iron. Now, if you're using it, then maybe you're using it to do something that's gonna score you some points. Okay, but as the iron comes off of my tile, if it's completely empty, I get to flip and upgrade that tile, which is gonna increase the value of things, my income, and stuff like that. So that's one level where I'm like, I'm actually benefited the more you use my stuff. I might also want to use it for myself, so maybe I want to use it first, but either way, I'm going to get something out of it. There's also the other thing of people have built up a city. Birmingham itself has been filled up with a bunch of tiles. Well, okay, I'm going to build my canals or trains, depending which area you're in, up to Birmingham, and I'm going to get victory points based on the buildings that are in that city, even if they are not mine, because you have to be able to transport your goods around, so I'll provide that for you. You can use my trains. And so you are, again, benefiting off of what other people are doing. And I just love the fact that anything and everything can be useful. You can do it yourself. Or you can have it be that someone else has done something. You're like, well, okay, I'm gonna use that beer now and go do this thing. And yes, you're gonna flip that tile and that is very beneficial for you, but I really need to make this delivery or need to build out this track or whatever it might be that's going to use this resource. So it's that constant like stress of like making sure I get out of this a little bit more than you because we're both gonna benefit.
Number 3 is going to be Space Base. Space Base is one of those no downtime games because there's always positive player interaction. I mean, I guess you could yell at someone for rolling bad, but that's kind of it. This is a game where you will have a space dock, space base, and you're going to have 12 different ships numbered 1 through 12, which is what you can roll on 2 dice. So on your turn, you're going to roll 2 dice, and then you're going to activate your ships. You can either put those dice together, like 5 and 5, to activate 10, or you can activate your 5 twice. Or if you have like a 6 and 4, you can activate your 4 and then your 6 or your 10. The cool thing is on whenever you get a new ship, because you're constantly buying new ships, say buy a ship that goes into slot 7, what's already in slot 7 will turn around and go behind your board, and that new ship will go there. And things that are behind your board will activate on other people's turns. Because then if Mike then rolls a 10, I can activate the ships behind my board in slots 6, 4, or 10. So it's this really nice positive player interaction because what you're doing is not affecting other people. So like if I activate my 10, it's not like, oh, that means Karen can't activate her 10, ha 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 ha. There's none of that. It's just like, I rolled a 6, everyone activate your stuff, I'm gonna activate my stuff. It's all positive. And that's really, really fun. So I guess the only thing you do is like be annoyed that someone never rolled a 10 when your 10 slot is like absolutely stacked. And you're, can someone please roll a 10 so I can activate all this? That would be something could be, I guess, would be negative. But for the most part, it's all positive. I really, really enjoy it. You are racing to 40, is it just 40? 40? I feel like it's 40 or 42 or something like that points. And then once someone gets there, at the end of that round, that will be the end of the game. I really enjoy Space Base. We played this again recently, and I was kind of reminded just how much I really like that game. It had been a little while since we played, but it's got that positive player interaction, absolutely no downtime. I just love it.
Concordia has been on the mind recently because we just played it and I've been playing a bunch on the app and realized that this game really has a center that is very interactive in a positive way. And that is going to be specifically with the prefect action where you're going to be activating a certain region, gaining a bonus, but then all of the buildings in that region will activate. And if you have built buildings in certain cities, you will get the resources that are provided by it. But of course, if opponents have also built in those cities, they will get resources. So this is a game where you will occasionally get stuff off turn, which can really kind of set you up for your turn. And I just enjoy the fact that it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this region. I really need the bonus that's gonna come, but it does mean that some other people are gonna get some, you know, some cloth or some bricks or whatever that I would love for them not to have, but it's a concession I'm willing to make. And like that kind of interaction is really cool. And then every player also has a card that will allow you to copy the top most recently played card by an opponent. So for everyone who's played your cards and stuff, the top of your discard pile essentially will be face up, and you will, you know, occasionally copy something that's really powerful. Like maybe someone bought a card from the market and I don't have a strong version of this action yet, but I can make use of their actions. There's always that kind of fun, like little bit of like, ooh, what have people been playing? What can I make use of here? And it feels really cool. And, you know, especially if someone just bought that and then everyone uses it and they're like, oh, well, that, you know, you're welcome, everybody. So I enjoy that because it doesn't like actively hurt them for me to have done that, but I do get to benefit off something someone else did. And that's very fun. So the timing of those Diplomat, I believe, cards is always like really interesting, trying to see what's going on the table so I can play it at the right time.
Number 1 is going to be Key Flow. Specifically Key Flow, not Key Flower, because Key Flower is much more mean. Key Flow is not mean at all. Keyflow is in the Key series. There's a whole bunch of different games here. Again, Keyflow is kind of a card-driven version of Keyflower. And that is a game where you can activate other people's stuff. And in Keyflow, you're going to have basically kind of a growing tableau of like upper cards and kind of lower cards. And those cards will allow you to do various different things. They might allow you to produce these kinds of resources like coal or ore or wood or stone. Some might allow you to transfer and move those other places because a lot of the cards you will need to have the things on them for you to be able to activate them. Or at the end of the game, they're going to score a certain amount for a certain amount of resources on it. It's a lot of producing stuff, changing stuff into other stuff, and then moving it around to where you need it to score at the end of the game. The cool thing about this game is that you can activate other people's stuff, your neighbor's stuff. So the person to your left, this is my right, the person to your right, the person to your left, you can activate their stuff because how you activate things is with these meeple cards or keeple cards, as they're called because it's key stuff, right? So on these meeple cards, they will have arrows pointing straight down, which means you get to activate stuff in your kind of tableau, but they might have arrows pointing to the right and to the left, and when you're pointing that way, that means you get to activate stuff in other people's things. But when you activate their stuff, it doesn't block them. It doesn't stop them from doing it. You say, hey, I'm using this card, and they go, okay, because that's it. It's all it is. And so I really enjoyed that kind of positive player interaction. Like, ooh, Jimmy already got this really, really good card. I don't need to get that card because I can just keep activating his. You don't give them anything in terms like you're not like giving them points or money to do so. You just get to do it. It's that positive player interaction where it's like, hey, I get to use your stuff. That's really, really cool. And it just kind of opens up the game, and I really, really enjoy it. Keyflow, I feel like always kind of went super under the radar. Keyflower is like the most popular key game, I would say. And because it's compared to that one a lot, I feel like Keyflow doesn't get mentioned a lot. I really, really love it. And I love that kind of positive player interaction where everyone's infrastructure kind of works for you. It's just really, really good. I think the key games are awesome, and this is probably my favorite one, and I really, really love it.
So those are 10 games that feature some positive player interaction. We're both going to get a little something out of this. We both have the ability to kind of drive this train.
There's still some spiciness in there sometimes.
Absolutely. You know? Again, you're still trying to win the game. It's not a cooperative game by any means, but it's the fun tension of you're going to get something out of this, I want to get something more out of this, and you're going to get so that I ultimately win. But if you get something, yeah, that's fine. I can live with that.
I can handle
Or
that.
you did this thing and I got something, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. So down in the comments below, let us know your favorite game with positive player interaction or your favorite way the positive player action shows up in games. Go ahead and do that as well. And I think that's going to be it. Until next time, I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
We're the Brothers Murphy. We'll see you later, everybody.
Bye.